My child, listen closely, for the silence has finally broken. The final list has been released, and the shifting of the cosmos has brought your name to the very top. You may look around you and see the ordinary world, the same walls, the same sky, but in the spiritual realm, a massive gear has turned. You are next. Yes, you are truly next. But I must tell you, you are not the first to stand at this threshold. You are not alone in this experience, though you may feel solitary in your room or wherever you are hearing this voice. There were others before you. Specifically, there were 4 souls whose names were written in gold before yours. The universe called out to them just as it is calling out to you now. They were given the first opportunity to step into the light of this specific blessing, but they are no longer on the list. What happened to them is a history that is in danger of repeating itself if you do not pay attention. But I know you. I know you are different. You are still here, and that alone is the first sign of your readiness. You might be asking yourself, what is this list? Why have I never heard of this before? That is a valid question, my child. The reason this message never reached your ears until this precise second is that back then the frequency was not tuned to your spirit. The message was being broadcast to the 4 who came before you. I spoke to them. I tugged at their hearts. I sent them signs in the wind, in the numbers they saw, in the dreams that woke them up in the middle of the night. But the sequence had not yet shifted to you. Now, however, the order has changed. The 4 names that were blocking yours have been removed, not out of malice, but because their time of decision expired. The universe is patient, but it is also precise. When a soul refuses to step through an open door, eventually that door must close so that it can open for another. That other is you. Your name has shifted upward. The heavy curtain has been pulled back, and the spotlight of destiny is resting directly upon your life. You were drawn to this message not by an algorithm or a random click. Do not be deceived by the technology you hold in your hands. It is merely a vessel for a much older connection. You were drawn here by a magnetic pull inside your spirit that you couldn't quite explain. It was a tug, a whisper, a sudden feeling that you needed to stop scrolling, stop moving, and simply listen. That was not your mind playing tricks on you. That was me, reaching out across the void to tell you that your waiting season is officially over. To ensure that this energy flows correctly and to seal your place in this new sequence, I ask you to engage with this moment physically. Do not just listen passively. Declare your presence. I ask you to write "I am ready to receive" in the comments below. By doing this, you are not just typing words, you are planting a flag in the spiritual ground. You are telling the universe that unlike the 4 before you, you are present, you are awake, and you are listening. Let the others see your name and know that you have accepted the call. You are likely wondering why the list exists at all. Why are names chosen? Why are only a few selected for this specific transition? My child, the universe operates on cycles of restoration. The list is not a lottery of luck, it is a roster of readiness. It is compiled in a place beyond time, where your tears are counted and your silent battles are recorded. I have watched you. I have seen the nights you cried into your pillow so that no one else would hear. I saw the days you smiled to keep the peace while your heart was breaking inside. I saw the strength you displayed when you had every reason to collapse. You thought those moments went unnoticed. You thought your suffering was invisible. But it was then, in those moments of quiet resilience, that your name began to etch itself onto this list. The 4 before you were chosen for their potential, but you were chosen for your perseverance. There is a difference. They had the opportunity, but you have the endurance, and that is why the message is repeating for you today. This is not a message of fear, though the mention of those who failed may unsettle you. This is a message of vital importance. You deserve to know the truth. You deserve to know that timing is everything. I speak only when a heart is cracked open enough to let the light in, and today your heart is open. Today your defenses are down just enough for this truth to penetrate. The four before you heard this same call, but they did not step forward. They froze. They let their logic override their intuition. They analyzed the miracle until it ceased to look like magic and started to look like a coincidence. They let the noise of the world drown out the whisper of the divine. They were given the chance to align with their highest purpose, to leave behind the pain and the struggle, but they held back. They clung to what was familiar, even though it hurt them, because the unknown felt too dangerous. But you, my child, you do not fear in the same way. You have a courage that you haven't even fully tapped into yet. Even when you are unsure, you are still here. Even when you feel unprepared, you are still listening. Even when life has pressed you down into the dirt, you have lifted your head to look for the sun. That simple act of looking up is why the sequence shifted. That is why the four names faded and yours illuminated in letters of fire. The list was not formed on paper or typed into a computer. It was breathed into existence. It was formed in the high places, beyond the reach of darkness, designed specifically to pull souls out of the loop of suffering. Every name on it was chosen with deep intention. I did not pick you at random. I picked you because what you have been carrying is too heavy for you to hold any longer. What broke you is ready to be healed. What drained you is ready to be restored. You were chosen because restoration belongs to you now. This list is a calling, not a curse. It is a turning point. But to walk this path, you must understand what caused the others to fall away so that you do not stumble over the same stones. The path ahead is bright, but it requires your full attention. We are just beginning this revelation. Stay with me, for there is much more to uncover about why you are here and what comes next. I must take you deeper now, my child, because understanding the errors of the past is the only way to secure your future. You need to know exactly how the four before you lost their place, so that you do not slip in the same mud. Each one of them was shown the very same door that stands before you now. They were given the key that was meant to unlock their chains, but they left it unused. They stared at the exit, but never walked through it. It was not that they couldn't see it. It was that they allowed the noise of the world to distract them. They let the chaos of their daily lives pull their eyes away from the miracle that was offering itself to them. They allowed their minds to argue against what their spirits already knew was true. The human mind is a powerful tool, but it can also be a terrible barrier. The four before you let doubt close their ears. They analyzed the calling until it lost its power. They reasoned their way out of a blessing, and because they hesitated, because they debated instead of trusting, their moment passed. The chance shifted away from them, leaving a vacancy that has now been filled by you. I do not want you to miss what they missed. I do not want you to turn your back on the very hand that is reaching down to lift you up. This is why I am speaking to you with such clarity today. This is why you feel that strange, undeniable sensation in your body right now. You might feel a warmth spreading through your chest, or a heaviness that feels like a blanket of peace, or perhaps a sudden sense of being wide awake. That is not anxiety, that is recognition. Your soul recognizes this message because this calling was placed inside you long ago. You may have forgotten it in the busyness of survival, but I am reminding you now, to solidify this connection and to prove to yourself that you are not like those who turned away. I ask you to engage with this energy. Do not remain a silent observer. In the comments, I want you to write, "I am open to the shift." By doing this, you are breaking the cycle of hesitation that trapped the others. You are declaring that your eyes are open and your spirit is willing. Let this small act be the first step of your obedience to the call. You are likely wondering what comes next. what this message requires of you. I will reveal every step without rushing you, but you must first understand the architecture of your destiny. Being on this final list means you are stepping into a moment that was designed for you before you even understood what destiny was. Everything in your life has been leading you to this specific point in time. Every storm that tried to drown you, every heartbreak that left you gasping for air, every small victory you celebrated alone, and every whisper of hope that refused to die in the darkness. All of it brought you here. Now that you understand why the message has come to you, we must look at how this list was formed. It did not appear suddenly out of the ether. It has been forming over time, shaped by moments in your life that you didn't even realize were sacred. There were events that felt ordinary, perhaps even painful, but they were actually signals. They were spiritual markers pointing you toward this very second. You didn't see them then because no one sees the map clearly while they are standing in the middle of the storm. Only when you are called higher do you begin to look back and understand what the lower places were preparing you for. The four who came before you did not understand this crucial truth. They saw the message as a warning of danger when it was truly an invitation to freedom. They heard my voice, but they treated it like background noise. They felt the stirring in their chests, but they pushed it away, thinking they could deal with it later. They believed the lie that they had infinite time. They thought there would always be another chance, another day, another moment to decide. But the window of the divine closes just as surely as it opens. It closed for them because they refused the calling placed right in front of their eyes. And now their names have faded from the sequence, and yours stands glowing in the next position. You may wonder what they lost. My child, they were offered the same thing you are being offered now, a total shift in their life. They were offered a cleansing of the old pain they carried, a lifting of the heavy weights on their hearts, and a moment that would have rewritten their entire future. But they hesitated. They allowed their doubts to speak louder than my promise. They questioned the method instead of trusting the source. I do not want the same fate for you. That is why I am speaking so gently yet so firmly. That is why my words are bypassing your mind and reaching straight into the deepest part of your spirit. You think you are simply watching a video, but something much bigger is happening here. Something is awakening inside you. A part of you that was buried under layers of disappointment is starting to push through the soil. There are signs that prove you are ready, signs that the others ignored. The first sign is the revival of your hope. A part of you that once believed, once dreamed, and once hoped is breathing again. The second sign is the feeling you cannot explain, the tug you felt as soon as you began listening. That warmth in your chest is how I call those who are chosen. It is not a call of fear or pressure. It is a gentle, magnetic pull. And the third sign is the truth you try to deny. Deep inside, you already know this message is for you. You wouldn't still be here if it wasn't. You wouldn't feel that mix of peace and intensity unless your spirit recognized its own name being called. This list is not a list of danger. It is a list of transition. It marks the moment you begin to break free from the patterns that have held you captive. My child, I want to clarify exactly what this list represents so that your heart can settle into peace. It is not a list of judgment or danger. It is a list of transition. It contains the names of those who are being moved into a new season, one that requires a massive spiritual shift before they can step forward. Each name on this document represents a life that is meant to be washed clean of the burdens that have held them back for far too long. Think of the pain, the deep-seated insecurities, the recurring patterns, and the wounds that never quite healed properly. This list marks the precise moment those things begin to break. Your name rose to the top not by accident, but because the time for your specific change has finally arrived. You have carried enough weight for one lifetime. You have survived enough storms. You have endured enough silence. It is time for that weight to leave your shoulders and for your steps to lighten. It is time for your heart to finally breathe again. I did not choose you because you were perfect or flawless. I chose you because you kept going even in your imperfection, and that persistence matters more to me than anything else. The list is called final because it marks the very last stage of waiting before a breakthrough. Each person on it was chosen because they reached a point where turning around and going back to their old life was no longer an option. The only direction left for you is forward. You have reached the place where everything that hurt you, broke you, and drained your spirit is about to lose its power over you. To seal this truth in your reality, I ask you to make a declaration. Do not just let these words pass through your mind. Affirm them. In the comments below, write, "I claim my breakthrough." By doing this, you are telling the universe that you accept this transition. You are signaling that you are ready for the weight to be lifted. Let your comment be a digital marker of your spiritual readiness, helping this message reach others who are also waiting for their sign. But before the shift happens, you must understand the tragedy of the four who came before you. I tell you this not to frighten you, but to show you the traps you must avoid. Each of them was given a moment where their soul opened and they felt the stirring just as you do now, but they allowed fear to speak louder than their destiny. The first person heard the message with excitement. Their heart was open and ready, but they made a critical error. They allowed someone else's voice to drown out mine. They told a friend about their calling, and that friend mocked them, questioned them, and planted seeds of doubt. The one I had chosen stepped back in shame. They believed the voice of skepticism over the voice of purpose. They lost the moment meant to lift them because they sought validation from people who could not understand the journey. You must learn that sometimes the sacred must stay between you and me. The second person felt the stirring, but they convinced themselves they had more time. They believed they could wait, that the chance would come again, that the moment wasn't urgent. They postponed the very thing meant to heal them, delaying until the door finally closed. By the time they decided to turn back, the window had already shifted. There are moments in life that never return once ignored. The divine does not wait forever. The third one wanted the blessing but did not want the surrender. They wanted the gift but not the transformation. They tried to receive with closed hands, holding tightly to their old patterns, habits, and wounds. They thought they could step into a new season while clinging to everything from the old one. But my child, that is impossible. You cannot carry yesterday's weight into tomorrow's purpose. A closed heart cannot receive a new life. The fourth person came the closest. They listened, they believed, and they felt the calling more strongly than the others. But when it was time to take the step, fear wrapped around their spirit like a heavy chain. They remembered every time they were hurt before. They recalled every disappointment, every broken promise, every failed moment. They let old pain dictate their present reality. The pain whispered lies, don't trust, don't try, don't hope, and they listened. They walked away from a door that was already open. My child, I am telling you their stories to show you what so many do when they are chosen. They hesitate, they question, they run. They allow their wounds to speak louder than my voice. But you are not them. You have come too far and survived too much to turn back now. There is something inside you, something strong, brave, and resilient that refuses to die no matter how many storms come against you. I am speaking to that part of you now, the part that still believes there is something greater waiting, the part that knows you were meant for more than the pain you were handed. Now let me tell you what those who turned away were meant to receive, because that very same blessing is currently standing right in front of you. They were not just offered a small bit of luck, they were offered a moment of complete spiritual cleansing. Imagine a release of every single burden they carried, a total breaking of the toxic cycles that kept repeating in their lives. They were offered a renewal of their identity, a lifting of everything that weighed down their heart, and a chance to start again, not by erasing their past, but by healing it so deeply that it no longer stung. They could have walked into a season of absolute peace and clarity, receiving breakthroughs in the very areas they had cried about for years. But they turned away at the threshold. You, my child, are standing at that exact same threshold right now, and you feel it, don't you? You feel something shifting inside you as these words wash over you. You feel something rising in your chest, something warm, something undeniable, something alive. That sensation is your spirit responding to its calling. That is the part of you that knows, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this moment is not ordinary. You are likely wondering what happens next, what being next on the list truly means for your daily life. I will tell you plainly, it means your life is about to be rewritten from the inside out. It means that the things which once held you captive will no longer have the power to control you. The heaviness that has followed you like a dark cloud for years will begin to loosen its grip, and then it will simply leave. The wounds you learned to hide so well will begin to heal in ways you never imagined were possible. The confusion that made you doubt your path will clear, and the strength you thought you had lost forever will return to you, multiplied. But you must understand that this list did not come from human hands or random chance. It was created by intention, my intention. You were placed on it because you reached a critical point in your journey where staying the same could no longer serve you. You have been walking with a heart that carries far more than it was designed to hold. You have been trying to be strong for everyone else, holding up the world while having no one who truly understood the depth of your own pain. And through all of that, you still held on. You still believed in the light, even when darkness completely surrounded you. I watched all of it. Not one tear slipped from your eyes without my awareness. You thought no one noticed how you struggled in silence, but I noticed. I saw the nights you hoped would end and the battles you fought without a voice to speak for you. That is why your name is on this list. It is not about your past, it is about what comes now. Being next does not mean trouble, it means transformation. It marks the moment where I step in and take over because the weight has become too heavy for you to carry alone. The four before you lost their blessing not because I rejected them, but because they rejected themselves. They refused to believe they were worthy of healing. They held onto their pain like a shield, convinced it protected them when in truth it only kept them trapped. But you are different. Even when you doubt yourself, you never fully lose hope. You don't want to stay broken. You want to heal, you want to grow, and you want to become the person you were always meant to be. That willingness is the key. That willingness is why your name moved forward. When your name appears on the final list, it means the season you have been stuck in is officially ending. It means the cycles that repeated for years are about to break. You have been living with emotional scars that never received closure, walking with disappointments that faded from your voice but never left your spirit. You are being called now to release what you have carried for too long. You are being prepared for a rise you didn't see coming. You must realize that the pain you went through was not meaningless. It carved depth inside you. It gave you compassion, resilience, and wisdom that you didn't have before. You learned to see people differently and to feel with a deeper heart. That is the mark of someone chosen. But now, the time for suffering has ended. You are stepping into a season where the battles you fought will turn into blessings. Being next means you are about to be positioned in a place you once thought was out of reach. Things in your life will start aligning in ways that defy logic. People who drained your spirit will begin to fade from your path, and peace will return to the empty places inside you. Opportunities will appear where there used to be only closed doors. Real love, love that heals and lifts, will find its way toward you. Your spirit will soften, and hope will feel safe again. You are next because you are ready. You are next because you have waited long enough. You are next because your future deserves light. To ensure you do not miss any part of this journey as it unfolds, and to stay connected to the guidance that will help you navigate this new season, I invite you to subscribe to this channel now. By subscribing, you are keeping the door open to the messages that are meant for you. You are choosing to stay aligned with the voice that calls you higher. Click the button, join us, and let us walk into this restoration together.